Greetings to all class 9 students. It is said that it is very risky to live by the fools or foolish people. Here I want to mean fool as a person who lacks intelligence and doesn't have common sense. See, usually foolish people are unpredictable in their actions and they can be very dangerous to you as you never know what they will do next and how would they deal with any situation in their life. And you never know because of them how you going to end up suffering. The chapter in the kingdom of fool. This chapter deals with the same theme. The theme of staying away from silly and foolish people even when they can offer you very lucrative things, very tempting things for time being. I think you all must have learnt the chapter in the kingdom of fools sometime earlier in your previous standards, perhaps in your other language books, in Gujarati or Hindi or other books. It is a humorous story with, vivid characters. It is written by A.K. Ramanujan and it is a Kannada folktale, right? And it is from the collection of A.K. Ramanujan's folktales that he had published. It has many other characters. In this story, the disciple stays back in the kingdom of fools despite the guru's warning and faces the consequences of defying the guru's instructions. Finally, the guru comes to help him and he saves his beloved disciple's life. Now, how can you find out a fool? Who do you think can be a fool? Well, you can make them out from their actions, from what they speak and how they deal with different situations. Fools usually do not follow the order set by nature. They love to follow something instead, right? Otherwise, let's see how the king and his ministers of this fool's kingdom handled once a situation that arose and treated his subject, right? Let's find out from the chapter in the kingdom of fools. This is a chapter in your Moments book, right? Get your books handy or a PDF copy in front of you. Okay, let's start. Chapter 4 in the kingdom of fools. It is believed that fools are so dangerous that only very wise people can manage them. Well, yes, you have to be smart enough to deal with them. You cannot be as fools as them. You have to be smarter than them, of course. Who are the fools in this story and what happens to them? Let's find out. In the kingdom of fools, both the king and the ministers were idiots. Again, I would like to refer that here in this story, fools and idiots refer to those people who lack intelligence. Intelligence here refers to common sense to decide what is wrong and what should be right. Who should be wrong and who should be right. Okay. In the kingdom of fools, both the king and the minister were idiots. They did not want to run things like other kings, so they decided to change night into day and day into night. This is first example of how fools can handle things. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night, till their fields, and run their businesses only after dark. So that means the day begins as the night falls, and when the day breaks out, the night falls. Right? Something vice versa. And go to bed as soon as the sun came up. Alright. Anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. The people did as they were told for fear of death. It seems the subject of this fool's kingdom is not fool. It is only the king and his minister are fools. But because they are, they want to handle the kingdom, they want to deal with people, they subject in a foolish manner. Even the smart subject is suffering because of these two. So the subject is not fool here. They are not foolish. They are smart enough to understand the law and the order of nature, which was turned, vice versa by this foolish king and his ministers. Right. The king and the minister were delighted at the success of their project. That means they were, perhaps they also knew that what they were doing was wrong, but they were so pleased seeing the wrong thing was being carried out by people. One day, a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight. But there was no one about the streets. Everyone was asleep. Not a mouse stirring. That means moving here and there. Even the kettle had been taught to sleep by the day. Right. So they all were following the wrong order. The two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered round town till evening. Still nobody was seen till the time of evening, when suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its nightly business. So as the night fell, this is like the sun has come out. You see, the night was turned into the daytime. And everybody woke up and they started their business. People started walking about the streets. The two men were hungry. Now that the shops were open, they went to buy some groceries. To their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same, a single dudu. Whether they bought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost a dudu. A dudu is a Kannada currency, old Kannada currency. That means 1 paisa. Whether in big or small quantity, pulses, rice, legumes, fruits, veggies, anything you ask for was available only for 1 paisa. Right? In Kannada, 1 dudu. The Guru and his disciples were delighted. So, firstly, they were very happy that in this kingdom, everything is available just for 1 rupee, for 1 paisa. So it is such a, small amount to buy things. They had never heard of anything like this. Usually the price, the cost of anything depends on its size, its quantity, brand, anything. Right? But here everything was available only at 1 dudu, only for 1 dudu. They could buy all the food they wanted for a rupee. So what could be better than this? When they had cooked and eaten, the Guru realized that this was a kingdom of fools and it won't be good idea for them to stay there. See, Gurus are learned people. They are experienced. And as soon as he saw how the kingdom was reigned, you see, how it was being run by the king and his ministers and his people, he understood it. Because he was smart, that there is definitely something wrong going on here. This is perhaps the kingdom of fools here. And it is not advisable to, live next to them, because you never know, they are unpredictable. That means they are never affirmed in what they do next to you. If you are there next to them, you also may end up suffering. So he understood this truth. But this is no place for us. Let's go, he told the disciple. He said to his disciple. But the disciple did not want to leave the place because he wanted to stay there. He was a lover of food and he loved to eat. And since everything was available only for 1 to 2, he could really nicely afford to buy food and have it. Everything was cheap here. All he wanted was good, cheap food. The Guru said, "They are all fools. They won't last very long, and you can't tell what they will do next to you." Please underline, mark this line in your textbook. See, this is the words of wisdom from Guru to his disciple. He tried his best to explain to him that this is not a safe place for us to live here, because you never know how they are going to treat you, how they are going to behave with you. So this is very dangerous for us to be here in this kingdom. So let's leave. But the disciple did not. But the disciple would not listen to the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay. The Guru finally gave up and said, "Do what you want. I am going." And he left. The disciple stayed on, ate his fill every day, bananas and ghee and rice and wheat, and he grew fat like a street side sacred bull. You see, in Indian temples, we many a times see kettles tied up and being fed every day, just as a sacred gesture from the pilgrims and the devotees come to the temple. So he started fattening himself like that. You know, the kettle which is tied in the temple, he would just feed on and on and on, and he increased his size within few days. One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. Sneaked in, that means he broke into the house without the permission of anyone and out of attention of the family members. Of course, he was a thief. As he was carrying out his loot, the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. His brother ran to the king and complained, "Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade," now he does not say that my brother was a thief and he just broken into someone's house and he lost his life as a bad karma. But he says when he was pursuing his ancient business, that business was nothing but to steal things from someone's house. A wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant is to blame. He should have built a good, strong wall. You must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this justice. Now, since this is the kingdom of fool and it is run by the foolish king, the king instead should have asked the one who brought complaint to him, not about the brick wall, but about the brother, what he was doing in the middle of the night in someone else's house without permission. See, what did he say? The king said, "Justice will be done. Don't worry." And at once summoned the owner of the house. You see, he should have punished the thief for doing something wrong. Instead, that he not utilizing his common sense and intelligence. Of course, he is not. So what did he do? The one in whose house the thief was broken into and the brick wall collapsed, he asked the owner to come to the court. He summoned. Summoned means commanded. Let's see. On the next page. When the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, "What is your name?" "Such and such, your highness." "Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house?" Burgled, that means looted. Stolen things from your house. Were you there at home? "Yes, my lord. He broke in and the wall was so weak, it fell on him." That means he was present at that time. Yes, of course, not knowing that his house was broken into. The accused pleads guilty. Your wall killed this man's brother. Please underline this line. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you. This is another foolish thing to be done. First of all, calling upon the house owner instead of punishing the thief. Now telling him that he will be punished instead of a thief. That is another foolish thing. Lord, said the helpless merchant, I did not put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He did not build it right. You should punish him. You see, this foolish king had a smart subject. His people were smart. They knew how to get rid of, from being punished. So what did this merchant say? It was actually his fault. It was his house because he has built it, isn't it? But he wants to put his blame on someone else because he does not want to be punished. And he knows that the king is foolish. He will be, carried away by overwhelming talk. So he placed the blame on someone else. He said, it's not my fault. You should punish the mason, the constructor, the one who has built up this wall. Okay, who is that? My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He is an old man now. He lives quite nearby. Okay, so the king sent out messengers to bring in the bricklayer who had built this wall. They brought him in, tied hand and foot. You there, did you build this man's wall in his father's time? Yes, my lord, I did. Another foolish thing, third foolish thing that they've done. They called upon the one who built the wall. Now he built this wall before years. And now that he has already grown old, he still was summoned to come to the king's court, the foolish king's court. And he admitted, yes, I built the wall. But he was again a smart man. He is now going to put this blame on someone else. And he will justify his reason. What kind of wall is this that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. You have murdered him. We have to punish you by death. Right? This is the king's verdict. No one can deny that. No one can refuse this. But then this bricklayer, the old bricklayer, has to place this on someone else. He says, before the king could order the execution is the process of killing someone by beheading them. Yes? Right. The poor bricklayer pleaded, please listen to me before you give your orders. It is true I built this wall and it was no good. But that was because my mind was not on it. Okay. Now how his mind was not? When he talks about his mind, that means he could not concentrate while he was doing his business. Right. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day long with her anklets jingling, and I could not keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. Now the entire blame went on to the dancing girl. Now the dancing girl who was young then and who has already grown old now, same like the bricklayer, is summoned to come to the king's court. Right. You're right. The case deepens. That means the case becomes more and more serious. Somehow the justice is not being done because the foolish king is trying to find out who the culprit is. And this dancing girl now has to come to court. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated cases. Let's get the dancer, wherever she is. Oh, he has summoned and ordered his soldiers, his men, to bring the dancing girl. The dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to the court. Now poor dancing girl, who is an old lady now, perhaps has never thought of being brought to the court like this without knowing anything. You see, we tend to forget what we had done before a week unless it was a celebration of birthday or a very remarkable thing. This old woman is asked to remember what she had done, whether she had jingled her anklets while a bricklayer was laying a wall or not, that to be for years when she was young. Think about this foolish thing, that a king can really draw the justice like this. Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him? This is utterly foolish to ask an old lady to think about her young age and just to, try to recollect her memory. See, this woman is also smart. She knows how to deal with this. You have to be smarter to deal with foolish. What she says? Oh, yes, my lord, I remember it very well. So you did walk up and down with your anklets jingling. You were young and you distracted him. So he built a bad wall. Right. Now, before he places his jurisdiction there, see how this smart old woman has to deal with the king. It has fallen on a poor burglar. Burglar is the one who broken into the house, the thief, and killed him. You have killed an innocent man. You will have to be punished. The woman knows how to get rid of this. She thought for a minute and said, My lord, wait. I know now why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was a lazy scoundrel. He made so many excuses. Said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house 12 times. That was when this bricklayer saw me. It is not my fault, my lord. It is that damn goldsmith's fault. Okay, so from a thief it has come to a merchant. From merchant the blame had come to a bricklayer. From a bricklayer it had come to a dancing girl. And now from a dancing girl it is now going to go to a goldsmith. The dancing girl, who is now an old woman, justifies herself stating that it was not her fault when she had to walk up and down with jingling anklets. It was all the fault of the goldsmith. He made me run to his shop up and down for the jewelry that I had given to him that time. So please call upon that goldsmith and punish him. Okay. Poor thing, she is absolutely right, thought the king, weighing the evidence. We have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith, wherever he is hiding at once. Again he orders his men to bring the goldsmith into his court. The king's bailiffs searched for the goldsmith, who was hiding in a corner of his shop. Right. Bailiffs are those people, his ministers sent by him. They found out the goldsmith when he heard the accusation against him. He had his own story to tell. Now the goldsmith, also a smart man, he knew how to escape the death, the execution. So that means he started weaving a story in his mind. What did he say? He said, My lord, he said, I am a poor goldsmith. It's true I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I could not finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's orders. They had a wedding coming in and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient the rich people are. Who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry? made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall, which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him. Can you name him? Right. So the link goes on. You see, people want to pass this blame from one to the other person and so on because they have to escape. See, they all are acting in a smart manner, wherein this foolish king is sticking to one accusation, the allegation which has been made against the merchant's wall. He had to find out. Right? We are going to keep this chapter up to here, till here. This page is 22, and we take it further. This is going to be even more humorous now, right? I don't want to reveal the climax part now. We will have the cat coming out of the bag little later. We keep it till now. You keep learning, keep reading from the book till then. Thank you.